Hey guys, it's Miss Savannah. Today we're going to be talking about climate and weather. So your essential question is how can you define climate and weather as well as compare climate and weather? Because climate and weather are actually two different things, and that's what we're going to get into today. So here are some definitions for weather and climate. So weather is the current state of the atmosphere, including the temperature, the wind, the sky conditions, the air pressure, the humidity, and precipitation. So when someone asks you like what the weather is, it's just for that one day, right? So if someone asks you, what's the weather like today? You're going to tell them that weather for that one day. You're not going to tell them the weather that usually happens because weather is a daily thing. And when people ask us about weather, they usually want to know the temperature and the precipitation. So if it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold, is it going to be snowing, is it going to be raining, all of that stuff. So can you name 4 kinds of precipitation? So I think it will pop up here. Storms would be one. I'm just going to flip through this so we don't have to watch all these videos. Hail occurs as part of thunderstorms. Those are those ice balls, things falling from the sky, which can damage roofs and damage cars. Hurricanes form over warm tropical ocean water. And we'll get into the more specific types of weather as we go on through the week. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what weather is. So climate is the average weather conditions for an area over a long period of time. Weather can change daily or hourly, but climate changes very slowly. So if someone asked us what our climate is in the mountains of North Carolina, we would go into how we have different seasons. So in the summer, it's warm. In the fall, it's starting to cool down, and sometimes it's still warm. In the winter, it's pretty cold, not too cold, and in the spring, it starts warming up again. So our climate changes within the seasons, but our seasons stay the same. So climate is something we look at over a long period of time, whereas weather is something for the day. Sometimes human activities, such as burning fossil fuels like coal and oil, can change climate by adding chemicals like carbon dioxide to the air, and this causes the atmosphere to heat up. That's where people talk about global warming. So what if our climate is warming up? There's a video, we're going to skip over that. Global warming is caused by the greenhouse effect, the warming of the atmosphere as carbon dioxide and other gases trap the sun's heat in. So what things affect our climate? Latitude affects our climate. So latitude is how far north or south of the equator that place is located. And the equator is like that line that runs straight through the middle of the earth. It's an invisible line. See, we have right here is our equator. So your climate is determined by how far you are from that equator, which is your latitude. So we have a polar zone, which is very cold. So you think of like North Pole is very cold and dry, and most precipitation falls as snow. Glaciers also may form. We also have the temperate zone. This is moderate temperatures and 4 seasons. So during our ecosystems unit, we talked about the temperate deciduous forest. So we're actually located in the temperate forest. We're also located in the temperate zone. We have moderate temperatures, not too hot and not too cold, even in the winter and summer. And we also have these 4 seasons. The tropics are very close to the equator. They have the most direct sunlight. They're very warm and usually raining. So this is where we think of our tropical rainforest to be located. Bodies of water also affect climate. Being near an ocean or large lake tends to have a moderating effect on temperature and may bring more precipitation. And we talked about that when we talked about the water cycle last week. We talked about when you were living right next to an ocean or a large lake, you might get more rainfall or precipitation. So here we have a map of the United States. We are located right around here. So our average yearly precipitation is in the dark green, so it's over 150 centimeters yearly. Just going to click through these. So mountains also affect climate. Higher elevations are colder, and the windward side of a mountain range has more rain than the leeward side. So if you've ever driven over Franklin Mountain and maybe stopped at the top, it's going to be a little bit colder up there than it is if you're in the town of Hayesville. We talked about the water cycle. I'm going to go back through it. The evaporation is the sun turns liquid water in oceans and lakes into water vapor, which rises into the atmosphere. Then we have condensation is when water vapor cools and turns to a liquid water droplets on a dust particle, and this forms clouds. Then we have precipitation. This means it's rains or snows from the clouds, or also hails or sleets. Then we have infiltration, which is rainfall filters into the soil and becomes part of the groundwater. Then we have runoff, where water goes to lakes or into the ground, where it eventually runs into rivers and back into the ocean. Sayings used by people to help them predict the weather are called weather lore. Usually weather lore is told in verse. Why is it usually told in verse? Indicators that actually affect the weather are humidity, wind, clouds, and air pressure. When the dew is on the grass, rain will never come to pass. When grass is dry at morning light, look for rain before the night. When clouds appear like rocks and towers, the earth will be washed by frequent showers. A wind in the south has rain in her mouth. Expect the weather to be fair when crows fly his pears. So this one doesn't really predict, this lore doesn't really predict how the weather is going to be. That's why I gave it a thumbs down. Okay, thank you guys for watching. So you will complete the assignments this week. There's also going to be other videos that I will include. Thank you guys. Bye.